Okay, hello everybody. I think it's a good time to start. We are already 1 minute after. Okay, so the plan for today is to talk about the clean code. Is it good code or not? I'm really glad that you decided to attend this meeting. It's quite late. We are all tired. I think it's the last presentation. So yeah, let's make it done. Clean code. What do we do to preserve clean code, to have a clean code in our projects? There are some techniques. Basically, we follow design patterns. There are a lot of them. We try our applications to be, well, solid, dry. Some other abbreviations like KISS, YAGNI, JDD, whatever. We follow, well, authorities. Martin Fowler, Eric Evans, Uncle Bob. We know such people. Yeah, they wrote some books, we read those books. That's great. However, sometimes we need to apply what they wrote in those books to the real life. And sometimes it's like, well, how to draw an O. Just draw some ellipse and then add more details. And yeah, we are somewhere in the second step. It's not easy. So today, let's try to do some live coding. It won't be live because I've already done it. I wrote 8 applications, and I would like to discuss those 8 applications. So the use case. There is an application that sells some products, and those products on states of services, and we need to write a product catalog. So we need to calculate, are those services and products available or not? For example, we have some company that sells some add-ons for mobile devices, and for example, I don't know, some insurance product can contain some extra screen protection, but also only for some sort of customers on, I don't know, game package is offered in one country only. It's a valid case. Everything I would like to show today is based on my experience. It wasn't a company that sells digital products for mobile devices. That was something different, but, well, you know, NDA. Requirements. Pretty simple. We just need to calculate this availability and expose via REST API, and we just need to be open to extend the set of rules. So right now we have some rules where product or service is available or not, and maybe there will be some more rules later on. And non-functional requirements. Nothing really fancy, just state-of-the-art, DDD. Okay, we can cover something like that. Let's try to draw the application, and then let's try to create the code. So we have a customer that calls some REST controller, then the REST controller using some interface calls some facade. The facade downloads data from the database, then there is some rules execution engine, and everything is returned to customers. It's quite easy. Of course, we need also some main class to start the application, some mappers, repository, and so on. But yeah, I just want to keep this diagram clean. We have ports, adapters. I think it's quite good architecture just to start, to create something, and then we figure out what will happen later. So it's accepted. We are free to go. Okay, so I think that was almost the end of the presentation in the meaning of PowerPoint. I'm going to show you right now the code. When my computer will allow me to do that. Working on that. Okay, so this is the initial version of the application. As I said, something which is needed. We have just the main class to start it, really nothing fancy. We have one test to be sure that everything is working, some resources to put some test data into the database, nothing really interesting. And then we have 3 modules, ingress, core, and egress. So we start from egress, and the REST controller is here. It's not just a controller. You can also see the mapper here, and the most important thing is the interface which is called from the controller. So the interface is already in core ports. So ingress has a dependency to ports, not to adapter. we have a very good isolation so far. And, well, just one method, calculate available product. We accept user ID, some device ID, we return some set of products. It's still good. And the implementation is below. So we have a facade. In the facade, we download products. And yeah, this is basically the same story again. So egress module, ports, the interface, find products, which is used here. And below the interface, we have some adapter. And in the adapter, the facade, the repository, some mapper. We won't go here anymore because, well, it won't change. The only changes we will see in core module, so I just wanted to show you at the beginning what it's in the application, just to make it clear. And going back to the main part, so core, ports, adapters. In adapters, we have the facade. We download those products from the database, and then we process. We do some logic. And this logic is quite simple. We just filter services. We create product again with filtered services. So the output of this method, and both filter services and filter product, in fact, it's just filtering. So we apply all business rules, and if all rules matches, then, well, the product is available. So far, so good. However, there is just a tiny issue with this code. I said that we have quite good isolation, but it's not entirely true. In ports, we have the interface, but we also have a product, which is good because we need some, well, model to transfer data from layer to layer. However, the product implements Filterable, and the Filterable is also here, but it's not needed outside. Yeah, I have a question. Excuse me? Maybe. Or maybe I... I don't think it will be useful because the structure of the code is more important. So maybe I will just make the... Can I? What? No, I can't. Okay, is it more readable right now? I still think it will be an issue for me because I need to switch branches and compare it. Okay, we'll see. Maybe it will be good enough. Okay, so we have a product, and with this product comes the Filterable. I've made some mistake. Yep, the Filterable, so the interface which is in ports. However, it's not really needed outside a core. Is it good? Is it an issue? Yes, it is. However, we can live with that so far. We'll try to fix it later. However, we have another issue. Inside our domain, the facade is not really facade. According to those books I showed at the beginning, facade should just, well, delegate control to some other service that should do a logic. So, okay, let's do that. And this is the moment when I need to switch branches. But it won't be easy. Okay, and what is really changed? I'm sorry, but I think this presenter mode won't work for me any longer. Yep, unfortunately, sorry. Which means I can make the font bigger and... Oh, I can't. Okay, so if you cannot see it, and I think we don't have time to fight with the font right now. Okay, is it a problem? Can't you see it from the last rows? Yeah, but it will take some time.
Let's try with double shift and then increase.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, the font size is okay.
Increase font size, okay. Okay, I hope it's better, but well, it didn't work for the trick here. Okay, the plan for now is to compare it with the previous branch because I just want to show you what I've really changed. So, with comparison with the initial one, I've moved business rules to another directory because there is no more reason to keep it in the same one. I've created rules executor, which is basically the same logic I already had in the facade, and the facade is quite clean. We find products and then we call the executor. It's good enough. However, there is one more change. The filterable became public. So in the initial version, the first version, it was not so big issue because the filterable, okay, it was import, but it was not public. It was package private, so somebody could have access to it with the proper path. Right now, it's more difficult, but as I said, it will be fixed later on. Another issue, we decided, or some architect in the project has decided that we are going to use JDD. And yeah, in my project, I had a long discussion, are business rules domain objects, and those domains objects can have the control here. So can we just call business rules here from some service like this rules executor, or the business object is just a product? And at the end, we decided that it should be a product. So we would like to ask the product, is it available or not? Okay, let's do that. And again, let me show the comparison. Again, what is changed? We don't need rules executor anymore because we just find product and we ask each product, is it available or not? Looks great, looks really clean. However, where is the logic? The logic is import. So product, right now in product we have a few, well, methods like has services is available, some logic inside. It's not good. Another thing is with moving the logic here, we also needed to move the business rule, the interface. So business rules are still here in the adapters module. However, in ports, we have an interface. So technically speaking, somebody can implement this interface outside the port and outside the core. That's not something that should happen, but it's not the only issue. Another issue is the product is mutable. Right now we have a product and we filter services inside the product. For adapter inside domain layer, that's okay. But if we treat those product also as DTOs, something that we transfer from layer to layer, it shouldn't happen. So maybe let's try to fix this one. Okay, it's quite easy, not a big change. Another compare. From the previous version, we need an executor again. So in the executor, we had the very same logic as at the beginning, so we create new product. So new product with filter services. So the product itself is not modified, it's not mutable. It is immutable, you just create another instance. Is it good? Well, hard to say. Because we create, when we process data from the database, we have entity, then the entity is mapped to the product, then the product is mapped another one to another product. It's not really mapping, it's creating a new one, but, well, the computer has to calculate it anyway. And then from product, we need to map it to product res model in ingress layer, and then return to the customer. Yeah, layers everywhere. Maybe we can fix that. However, for now, it's not a big issue. Well, computers are fast, so let's skip it. The problem is with fields. There is a new requirements, we need more data. And right now the product contains just a name and services. Well, it's not real world use case. And then more fields came. So another compare. What we've done, okay, I've added, of course, data here, data to test, data to REST model, data to entity, and data to product. So I have a few more fields, just 6 new fields. That's obvious. I had to add it somewhere because, well, we have more data. We need to map this data in every layer. However, those new fields are also visible here. And right now, let's imagine all tests. When we need to test mapping new fields everywhere, including the main layer, should the main layer really be involved in something like that? Not really. But there are some methods to fix also this issue. The simplest one, Lombok. Yep, why not? We can use a builder. So another refactoring. Another refactoring means that in product we have builder. Unfortunately, toBuilder method is available only with super builder, which means we also added this to Filterable, again imports, so something which leaks outside core. But in executor, well, it looks great. We just use toBuilder, replace services, and build a new object. Yeah, I know the computer still use computing power to create this object from scratch. However, for us, for developers, the code is clean. At least here, in adapter, not import. Maybe we can somehow fix it. But not yet. It will be fixed later on. Because right now we have new requirement. Right now the service, which is inside product, needs to know the product itself. So we need a cyclic dependency from product to service and then from service to product. Because let's say we have many-to-many dependency in the database, so the same service can be connected to multiple products, and the same service is available for one product, but for another product there is some extra rule for that. Okay, let's do that. We are smart. We can fix also this issue. At least we can try. Again, what is changed? We have a mapper here. And this mapper, well, it's not so easy because we cannot map product with services with reference to the same product because of cyclic dependency. So we need to just skip product in service mapping and then add it later on after mapping with mapstruct. Not so bad. However, in product we have more annotations because we need super builder. We need builder at all to the case with rules executor, which is somewhere here. However, we also need the constructor because the mapstruct and after mapping annotation doesn't work with builders. Is it a problem? Well, just another annotation in ports. As I said, we are going to clean it later. So far, we can work with that. There is one more issue. The name should be final because it won't change at all. However, in this case, it's not really final because, well, it cannot be final when we use builders. When we use no-arc constructor, which is needed, again, for mapping. So we have a limitation of the language. Okay, it went too far. Let's fix it again. What should we do at the beginning? What should we really change when we saw that something is leaked? I said it's not strange that when we're using the same structure, the same metadata, so the same class, to both do some logic, do some operation inside core, and also to transfer those data between layers, something is wrong there. So the next step is to create just a new object, new class, just to use it inside the domain layer. Okay, as you can see, a lot of changes. So first of all, product is clean. We have just one constructor fields. It should looks like that from the beginning. Rules are moved from here to adapters, which is also great because we shouldn't expose rules outside adapters. Filterable is also moved. There is no filterable in ports, which means we don't have logic leak anymore. Well, right now it was not leak anymore, it was a waterfall because everything was in ports. Right now everything is in adapters, so this method is in adapter. It still looks quite good. However, what happened to the real logic? So we're starting in the facade, and in the facade we download data from another layer, as I said, already mapped from product entity to product. Then from product we map to filterable product. In filterable product we do some logic. The logic is the same all the time. Then we do the real filtering, and at the end we map it again from filterable product to product, and then ingress layer catches that and convert from product to REST model. So the mapping, yeah, I wrote it down, is product entity, product, filterable product, product, and product REST model. So what is the job of our application? Is it the product catalog or is it mapping application? Okay, can we fix that? Well, partially. This is the last one. What I've done, I've used, well, some really simple thing known everywhere in Java, inheritance. So right now my new filterable product, okay, I have a lot of changes here, so I think it will be easier to just show the new structure. So my new filterable product inside core adapters owns the logic, which was the, well, aim from the beginning. In ports, we have just get product interface, we have model with products and services, where the element is just a common interface for both of them. And also, yeah, basically when filterable product inherits from product, it still looks good. However, is it really good? According to all books I've showed at the beginning, yes it is. Because, well, we have really good isolation. We have clean DDD, so real domain-driven design, because real domain objects are responsible for the logic. We have really good hexagonal architecture. We have ports adapters. We have really good isolation. Well, we used something new. We used the factory, which means in the facade, before calling the executor, I don't have mapper anymore. I don't have even an abstract dependency in adapter, which is also good, something that I shouldn't have here. Right now I have factory, which is, well, a good architectural pattern, basically. But is it really different? Because in this factory, what I've done, I've just take the product and create a filterable product from it, replacing the services. So basically, I've do the same. So I've came here, rewriting the application, so refactoring the application 7 times or even 8 times, just to be, well, in some state that I can say that my code is clean, according to the books. However, when you can see how many classes do I have, how many things I had to do, how many ideas I had to apply, it's not so easy, and it's not really clean. And it was not the worst case. The worst case is inside the product, because I had to write something like that. Well, basically in Lombok, there is no such thing like creating an object from the instance of superclass of this object. I had to write it from scratch, and I had to use some method from Lombok, which is not really deployed to production. You can see the sign here, so it means it's from Lombok Edge. Well, today is here, next day, maybe they will remove it. And another thing is I had to create a lot of generalized objects, because in product we have a collection of services, but in fact there are no just services, I mean instances of service, because there could be instances of something inherited from service. Of course, in this case, it's filterable service. So, I'm looking for, yeah, this is one class, okay, two classes, product and service with something that shouldn't be also here. It's not public, it's not so bad. However, it's something maybe not leaked, but something maybe not exposed, but still something that it shouldn't be here. Something that should be hidden and nobody should use it. Of course, to use it right now when it's private package, somebody needs to use the same path, the same module, where it's not likely. But we have just two downsides right now. The one is leaking of this fancy method from Lombok. The second one is generalization of product and also filterable product. So, according to the books I showed at the beginning, the code is clean. The code is really good. We apply all patterns. Can I refactor it again? Yeah, I can think about moving this fancy thing outside port, but it won't be easy. And the code will be more complex. The most important thing is how much code have I wrote. I wrote a half more code, exactly 49.something% more code in comparison to the first version, just to make it clean. So, at the end, the question is it really clean? According to books, yes, but the code is slower. We have much more code. I haven't wrote tests for that, but well, with tests, with all of those mappers, with this fancy stuff, with everything I wrote, we need a lot of tests. We had this question in our project. That was a real question in real project, and we stopped on version 7, so the previous one. We decided to avoid using something like that. We decided to use the previous version. So we decided to create this filterable product, but we also decided to use one more mapper inside the main object. Was it a good decision? I don't know. That was a team decision. Yeah, I was part of the team, but yeah, it was not entirely my decision. And the real issue is it really clean? Is it really good code when we applied all rules, when we applied all patterns, and when we had a lot of code which is required just by books, not by business case, not by language, just because somebody wrote a book? And yep, just to sum up, I think we should learn a few things from that. First of all, there is some knowledge that we can learn from books. And I've seen a lot of developers, junior developers who wrote those books, and they thought that they are already senior developers because they read it and because they, well, know what is inside. I've seen architects that decided that if something is that book, it should be applied everywhere. Should it? Well, I don't think so. Those books are written by smart people. Some of them are even, well, doctor of computer science. Maybe you should follow them. Maybe not. In my opinion, we should always challenge our knowledge. And we should always decide which tools, which techniques, which patterns should we use for our use case according to the project, according to needs, according to requirements that we have, and we should never try to apply something which is already invented for any cost. And yeah, I'm not pretty sure about the last one, that there is no universal pattern, but at least there is no universal pattern invented so far. And as it's a conference and we still have a time, I'm also here to challenge my knowledge, so the question is, which version do you like? Which version of the code would you apply it in your project? Anybody? Go ahead.
You kind of make the assumption that the only way of making the code cleaner is to apply more patterns. So, in my opinion, you kind of applied something called extreme YAG shading. So, instead of challenging the model, instead of challenging the rules, you kind of chose to apply more and more techniques, fight with long, but more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of go into wrong direction. In my opinion, it's not the patterns that are wrong, but it's the wrong problem that you're trying to solve. So maybe instead of kind of experimenting with all of those builders and fancy constructors and thousands of layers, maybe a good question worth asking would be to, is the contract of my model really correct? Is really the concept of a business rule something that I might call DDD or conformance to DDD? Stuff like this. I would challenge the model personally instead of dwelling into this rabbit hole of fighting with the tools.
Yes and no. No, because of the non-functional requirement. The requirement was to use DDD, and in my project that was also a requirement from the architect in the company, in the client company, that we need to have this method is product available. So we've been forced for that. However, yes, and there is another way to create this application, and that application was also created as a proof of concept that was working. Yeah, it was fast and really good. And this way was to use something called fill. It's friendly enough expression language. So we have a parser of language of rules, and then we applied business rules in external tool. Okay, it was library, I think, written in Scala, just dependency in our project. However, in this case, we didn't care what is inside the product. We didn't care what is inside the service. And one more thing, in my product, I didn't have just, well, product and service. I have 5 layers. So let's imagine how many things I wrote in the real life to cover all those things, mappers, builders, lombooks, everything 5 times.
Okay. Domain-driven design is fundamentally about using the ubiquitous language. So using the same language as your customer does. Does your customer really talk about all of those layers in one aggregate, in context of one aggregate?
Yes, we had such an architect.
It's not a domain expert, it's an architect. And the
Yes.
fundamental assumption of DDD is to communicate with subject domain expert, not with an architect. Right?
That's true. Well, we've been working in the company when architects, well, they made decisions that they shouldn't make. In general, so we had some business domain owner from business people, but he was not involved in such discussion. If we had such discussion with the business owner and architects, every time when we tried to even create a diagram, the architects just jumped in and decided that, okay, you should have a method product is available. And business owners just trust the architect, so the business owner decided that if the architect says something like that, okay, then we are just programmers, small developers, we should follow what architect said. So that was non-breakable, non-functional requirement to use DDD in the meaning that product is the main object and the product should have this method. And the product should be mapped a few times because of the architecture. Yes.
The version, but the architect.
In my very case, yes, you're right. However, that was not a problem we could fix. The only one we could fix is to create 8 version of the application to show that it won't work. Or it will work, but it won't be, well, so easy. And trying to be so clean, trying to have the code good looking will force us in opposite direction. You've seen, with each iteration, the code was more ugly, not clean. But yeah, that's the only thing we could do. We could create something like that, show it to architects, and think what will be next. And the architects should realize that something is wrong. In our case, it was not the case. So we just could decide between version 7 and version 8, and we decided to go with version 7. So without this fancy Lombok stuff. That's the real life. That's the real life when real life doesn't match the books. Someone else? If not, then it looks like we are done. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, and hope to see you at the next edition of JDD. Unfortunately, this is the end of JDD 2022. Many, many thanks for being with us here, stationary in the Metropole Hotel in Krakow. I hope to see you at next edition of JDD, but also at other events organized by PROIDEA. Next week, we've got 4 developers in Katowice, and at the end of November, there is the biggest hackathon in Europe, Hackie at the Tauron Arena Kraków. Currently, the pool prize is over $250,000 zlotych, but for sure it's going to be bigger. Last year, it was $500,000. So gather your teams, and we are meeting in Tauron Arena to have some fun and coding. Thank you for this year, and hope to see you next year. Bye-bye.